find Elims, and then again, decisive, dropping down, gets another one, and he does not stop.
Every shot he took was still from cover, looking out towards the.
يا أخي هذا أقسم بالله مدري كيف يلاقي الكلات.
There was nothing wrong with what he was doing at all.
Not at all, and even when players start to get aggressive on him, he will respond in kind. He only has a charged shotgun and a burst AR, but he makes it work even close range. And then it's just follow up. Down below, another peek box. He finds another. This is it. Look at this shot. The flick jump onto the player on height, the biggest threat, and Tayson takes him out so fast. Another quick build, and boom.
He actually lands the shot, lands the landing, and then gets height with another back-to-back past that. The left peak, followed by the right one as well. Reason had no idea what he was up against, and Tayson was on fire with so much hot momentum. What a performance.
If you blinked, you missed it. Because I don't know where the shockwave launcher went, but he still had gets charged, and that's apparently all you need if you're Tayson. I'm getting scared for everybody. 16 points, but also if he does what we saw in Heat 2, which
12 kill win.
back wins, all of a sudden this might be over and done with.
I'm reading my notes here. I think I'm seeing there's a new mythic player on the map, and if he's in the end game, if he's near height, this man is winning. So watch out for Tayson in Game 6.
The tone has shifted. Can Tayson hold down that #1 spot, or will someone step up and try to dethrone him? Let's get ready to get into the last game here in EU. Sundown, Clay, take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, and it all comes down to this. After 40 possible matches in each weekend, 80 possible during the course of the qualifiers, then the 6 in the heats, then 5 in the grand finals, we have 1 match remaining, and the tale of the tape is E11's Tayson taking out his former duo partner in Steamy Stacks for the first of 12 eliminations to secure the victory royale in a 16-point lead coming into the final match. Clay,
شفت الزون.
or is it a wrap? The only way somebody can
زون again.
somebody here in Steamy decides that they want
اندهولي.
and get this elimination. There's somebody nearby as well. It's either Tinsel or Janice. We know they land here. They have an opportunity. It's going to be Tinsel.
هذا أبعد زون لتيسن حرفيا أبعد زون. شوف تيسن وين ينزل وين الزون. Oh my god.
We saw last game. Tayson put down Janice. He did not care they were doing mates. He did not care they were landing in the same place. He said, you know what? Nah, this game I'm going to go on my own little spree. I'm going to write my own destiny.
And that's what it's all about. We talked about it.
زون لتيسن حرفيا أبعد زون. شوف تيسن وين ينزل وين الزون. Oh my god.
We saw last game. Tayson.
You can see Benji picking up an Elim in the feed there. So who besides E11's Tayson is currently in the running? Rifla sitting in second place at 42 points, needs 16 to close it. He is the closest. And you have Deceptos at 41, Hen at 40.
عند روتيشن يا حبيبي ستيمي. ترى ستيمي ما توصل اورشارد يا حبيبي تستهبل.
And then we'll keep Letwick in the conversation as well at 37, who's that's 21.
اقول لك الزون ايدج حقه اوثورتي وهو في ستيمي. ترى اللي يطير في ستيمي ما يوصلك اوثورتي، يعني يوصلك يا دوب ورا فرنزي. وصل الشاحنة يب بالضبط.
But of course, it's all contingent on if Tayson goes down. If he's able to make it into that top 25, into the top 15, top 10 placement points, then your chances are very, very.
ونقرا اللعبة طاح مرة. بنجي يلعب باد في جراند فاينلز. يا جماعة لازم تعرفون إن أي واحد يوصل جراند فاينل هذا يعتبر إنجاز.
Door ambush. We've seen this a number of times before. The reason players will hang out by doors is because a lot of players will either interact with doors right away or have auto interact set. What that means is when they walk up and they open the door, they're unable to take any other action because you're locked out while you're performing that animation. If a player walks in right on the other side of the door, this is a NOS looking to manufacture an elimination, and Bitfox might be the one on the other side of it.
Oh my god.
He is setting the trap, and the cheese. You gotta wonder how tasty it'll be here for Bitflox as he's falling for it. He's walking right into Nas is gonna get the shot. The trap has been sprung. Bitflox down to 23 HP, and Nas really needs this elimination if he wants to contest it. Bitflox trying to stay out and run away, but Anak's gonna pick that one up.
And that's so good. We talked
Oh
about
my god 2 لانش باد.
everything possible in your power to set it up to be successful.
2 لانش باد مو واحد 2.
To climb that grind and get up and catch something.
Oh my god.
Where every single point matters. We can see some early shots coming out here. Can he potentially find the tags, convert it into elimination? And looking on the bottom right hand corner, nobody's really threatening even remotely close to him right now.
يا ساتر والله.
And this is what you want if you want to get that first place.
What?
You're just gonna get gifted an elimination on the handy.
And that's
Hello?
every single point pushing him that much farther up. And it reminds me so much of Booga during the Solo World Cup when he threw a couple of rifle shots there in the final game. Was able to
One
cover
shot.
him, and he just laughed to himself. Tayson gotta be laughing to himself right now. If you're in Party Royale, hit him with that hee-haw emote. Let him hear the donkey laugh, because that's what Tayson has to say after throwing one singular AR bullet. But you saw him looking at it. You knew there was a third-party opportunity.
انتوا خلاص كل ما احد صار ايمه حلو سوفت ايم. خلاص يا حبيبي.
Just the best. You've got to throw those shots over there.
لو سوفت ايم ما يضيع طلقه في الاند جيم. شفناه ضيع طلق.
Yes, this is for first place as well. That is the goal everyone is playing. But everybody's going to get money for just coming here and making it here today. These are some of the best, if not the 100 best solo players in the European region. Sundowner said it. This is the most played in, most competitive region of the world, and it's not going to be easy to just even make it here. So Slender and Kezek, while they are fighting it out, and while one of them may fall here, they have done so much just to get here, to get their moment right here on the screen as Kezek is turning the fight in his favor. The pistol being used, it's breaking through the build, and Slender unfortunately gonna fall there.
Slender being taken down, and that's just a reminder again, this is the top 0.001% of players. This is the best of the absolute best, and they're competing against her after a grueling qualifying and heat process is now on board with Wolfies, the second place in the Duo World Cup, but having a tough run of it today on the opposite side of AR Bafo, who we've seen a number of times more than capable of taking these fights. So it should be a good little battle right here. But Wolfies continuing trying to play the aggressor. We talk about his rough day, only 8 points after 5 games, and doesn't want to be sent out here, wants to have at least some form of a stamp on this game, even if it's
والله الكنترولر اقسم بالله هذا وولفيز سووا له نيرف. ما سووا نيرف للام اس اس، سووا نيرف لوولفيز نفسه. يا ساتر كيف لعبه طاح بعد النيرف.
And AR Bafo is someone that has kind of come into that WT role and kind of taken it over for a lot of these players. And right there, someone who was really good at pushing that left stick forward back a couple of months ago. Right now, falling just a little short again. He was coming off an injury, so not in his full form there. But still, what a performance by Wolfies to just make it here today and put those 8 points up. Rezon, however, one of those players that could contend for the top. Again, you would need Tayson to go down before placement points started being divvied out. If he goes down in top 76, that is good for Rifle, good for Rezon. But the likelihood of that happening are very, very slim.
Especially because we saw Tayson early on grab whatever loot and mats he can and then just sprint towards the center zone. That first round of placements will be falling over in with just 4 more players going down, so a little bit quicker of a pace here. As you can tell, everyone trying to push it a little bit, get a couple of eliminations, get a couple placement points, try and move your way past that next player, maybe get a pay upgrade. And if you're hanging out for the first time watching us in Party Royale and you're not necessarily used to competitive Fortnite, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You might be wondering, hey, how do I get involved with this? How do I play in these matches? How do these players get here? Well, the first step is to go in and play in the arena. That is where you'll be able to earn hype, which is where you're gauged and then placed into different levels of play. You can end up getting into contender, and then you're up into champion, which will allow you access to different tournaments depending on where you're ended up placing. All of these players have grinded to the highest level, which is that champion level, which then grants access to certain cash cups as well as the FNCS. Then you can compete in those open tournaments to try and make the final rounds, which guarantee qualifications into the heats. And then after these heats, which were played on Friday and Saturday, you get the grand final. So again, when we talk about that 0.001%, these players have done it all, and they're very much so at the top of the game. 74 left, so 1 point going down to everyone, and that includes Tayson.
It also includes Rifla as being it up. Janice nearby as well. Thomas has got to be very careful here. If he is being a little bit too greedy, farming up a little bit too much too soon, he could start to go down as Janice is going to look to take him down. The builds are just not building there for him as he does take a lot of damage. 62 HP. He does have the RPG in his inventory, so he could turn that around if he gets the opportunity to, but he's got to be careful. Janice being aggressive. RPG out. It's going to hit the tree, but it doesn't do any damage. 27 HP. He's trying to side jump, but the ramp going to cut him off there as Janice continuing to pressure up. Thomas HD is getting WD'd, and Janice is going to be the one to take him out.
Thomas's attempt at a run will go down there. He was 12th trying to enter in here. We had talked about it. We'd hyped him up. We'd shown just how good and accurate he could be, but ran into Janice there, the FNCS Invitational Champion, in a tough 1v1. Again, it would have been an outside chance looking in, but now there is no chance as his FNCS is over. He's just hoping he can hold on to whatever spot in the top 20 as he's going to drop down from where he is right now after only picking up a singular point there. But now back on
ستورم سيرج ما شفناه كثير. كل زون في ستورم سيرج كيف ما شفته حرفيا كل زون.
Oh, he's setting it up. He's getting so close. He's waiting for the opportunity to get it, taking his time, and he does hit it, but it's a body shot, not a headshot. Unfortunately, that will give him the pressure, though, that he needs to do. He's got the crash pad, set it up into the box. He goes where that player knew, and the diagonal box out gonna come through, and Flo is not able to capitalize on that elimination. He was so sneaky when it mattered the most, but unfortunately, only the body shot coming through from him. But he gets tagged up by a third party, and now the player he headshot, or the body shot rather, is gonna push him. It's going to be Kylix going aggressive, and Kylix needs elimination as well. Move into the upper echelon of prizing, and Flois is just looking to try to make a run here. Flois 23 HP, ticking down. Cashback comes through, and Kylix is gonna come out on top.
Tries to enter the bounce house, but unfortunately a little too much for that one. Got a little rowdy. They're going to kick you out. And it was Kylix who was the bouncer, pulling him out, ending his FNCS run. No attempt for heroics here from Flois, but peeking back on over. Again, Tayson, match number 5 winner. 26 points in that game overall. Currently had a 16-point game there. You can see Tayson now holds the largest lead between first and second all weekend so far, so it's just an act of holding on. And even then, if he goes down here, it's going to take a heroic effort from somebody in the top 10 to not only convert on a victory royale, but pick up a number of eliminations to even come close to matching that 12 elim victory royale we just saw. And currently sitting on 60 points, it looks like this might be a victory lap for him.
It looks that way indeed, but he's set up in a very awkward spot. He's got a player held out of zone. He's also got 2 players on the mountain behind him as Janice picking up another elimination there onto Sapphic. Tayson, though, is the story of the day. Can he hold the lead? The largest lead we've seen in between first and second. And he's looking to make it even larger here with this elimination, but someone else being a nuisance and shooting some shots over towards Kylix. Tayson not peeking, is waiting for the right time to make his move and to make that striking distance and close it. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to be able to stay alive or get that elimination. There's Daisy.
But because Tayson is occupying so many of those points, everyone else who's in 2nd to 10th right now, each one of their interactions against each other is going to matter in terms of the placement, in terms of the money you end up walking away with. And also, man, 2nd sounds so much better than 8th or 7th or 6th, right? Like that battle for 2nd place and who can capitalize on this opportunity is still a huge moment. Going back and looking at the solo World Cup.
لا مو حاط ميوت يا جماعة بس أحب أتابع كل شيء.
7-game victory royale in the final moment. Will we see some similar heroics?
أشوف الزون، أشوف الوقت، أشوف الناس كيف متوزعة. أحب أشوف كل شيء. ما أركز على الشات والكثر.
all conflict because he knows the longer he holds on, the more likely he is to raise that axe at the end.
اثباته.
And just a reminder, every place past 6th place is an increase of $10,000. So if you are Slicks, if you are Rifla, if you are Deceptos,
يا جماعة الأول ياخذ 300,000 ريال. تعرف شو يعني 300,000؟ ما شاء الله. يعني يبيلك تركز تشوف ايش قاعد يسوي. اشرح لنا وش يقولون سولف يا أخي. طيب يقولون كايلكس قاعد يطلق على تيسن حاليا وقاعد يحط عليه ضغط وبريشر. تيسن قاعد يهرب. يقول ان كل الناس تعرف ان الحين هو بلع سنايب. ما ادري لو هو بلع سنايب ولا لا. كايلكس يحاول يدخل بالكراش باد ببوكسه. هي ل 66 قاعد يلعب شو اسمه يعني بوش قوي. يحاول تيسن او ماي جاد بري فاير. تيسن راح فيها. تيسن حاليا المركز الاول. تيس لانه ما ادري ليش فيك هذا البيك. والله انا التيس جايب 60 بوينت في الفاينل. انا التيس والله. اتوقع خلص حسمها. كلهم ماتوا. حسمها. فينيكس الفا شكرا على التير 1. شكرا على التير 1 حبيبي الفا.
close that gap. Anas doing his best right there, picking up an elimination, but he has a long rotation to go before he gets into the zone.
And Carton and Kazakhs are not going to let him get there easy. They're not going to let an easy rotate come out. So he does have crash pads and launch pads there. What's concerning for Anas is the amount of AR in his inventory. Now, if he knows that Tayson just went down, if their feed showed it, and he doesn't have that anonymous mode on, Anas is going to be very, very, very hard.
أنا اسمه عربي؟ لا مو عربي.
He's just going to look to try to set up in a
ايش فيك ايش فيك سوريانو فانز.
And you see the quick edit that's there. Going to protect him for a little bit.
الو ايش فيك؟
And you see the wood being built there. He's got to be careful. Carton setting up nearby as well. Question is his rifle still in a good spot to continue.
طيب يا قلبي بس بدون سبام عشان الشات بس ما ينزعج.
From Tayson is going to be so close.
But don't forget, the line is
Let's fucking go!
10 reason.
اوه ماي جاد الفا. شكرا على الدونيشن يا بعد قلبي الحب. حبيبي والله. شكرا والله الفا الفا حبيبي. الله يسعدك.
Circle 4 is revealed and pretty much everyone has already established themselves. So we're going to wait and we're going to roll the dice and see.
يا ساتر donation فجائي.
That half in, half out zone that triggers the initial use of utility. Where does it pull? And which one of these key players can capitalize on the position and the opportunity they're given? This is the final game. There is 4 storm zones left after this. 52 players up. Number 1 is down. Can anybody catch him, or will Tayson's lead be enough to just barely edge him over the top? There's the zone on the far west side, Clay.
And Rifle has no mobility. He's got
يا أخي ما قاعد يطلع
Baffo is right nearby Rifle. If he gets too aggressive and shoots a little bit too early, Baffo will strike. We've seen him pop out into players' boxes to look for it. That is not good for Rifle. He needs to rotate.
أنا كيف مو طالع عندي؟ أوه لأنه مو تاب. أتوقع حسمها.
Baffo's moving behind. Shots come through down 131 HP. Rifle needs to get out of this one. Sniper is out. Baffo is rotating there as well. He realizes that crash pad going to be used. Chug splash rather. He doesn't have any crash pads in his inventory. He's got to be careful he doesn't overpeak this. If a shot comes through that tags the shield, he's got nothing left there. 170 is going to find a launch pad. Is it enough? Is he getting a shot of the air? 114 shields are broken. Everybody knows. Tag go through and rifles down. Number 2 is
Oh my god.
Twain's picking that one up, saying, no run for you, sir. You must be this tall to ride the ride, and you will go down. Frenzy Fishy picking up one, so he's going to start moving his way up the leaderboard. We're inside the top 50.
No, Adri, I'm gonna close after this.
Everyone who's contending for Tayson getting those points, he did not. He went down outside of that threshold. Again, the line is 60. Can anybody cross it towards the end? It's up for grabs. It's somebody in the top 10 can seize the moment and be the one to lift it up and deny the E11 player, the Slovenian Lord, that Axe of Champions. And right now, Air Bafo trying to find some space. The 5th zone is closing, which means we have the late game, the full moving coming right after that. And we're over sweaty sand. So tons of natural building in play, excess materials that can come out, but also weird rotational paths as Bafo pushes in, continuing with the aggressive play style and takes out Floppa Michael.
60 points is what everybody needs to be thinking about right now. That is the number that you need to break. You also need to pick up a victory royale if you're just going for 60 to 61.
دبل البدل 7 مرات. Yep.
That is a very tall order to ask.
I mean, 61 the highest eliminations out of anybody in this tournament right now, so he owns that tiebreaker solidly. Now we're going to hop on board here with Deceptos, who's currently below Storm Surge, and we're actually going to need 14 players to drop, so that could end up coming into play with how fast this zone closes. If everybody prioritizes rotation and with nobody wanting to drop, you could see that happen. But right now, Deceptos trying to find a pick. This is the final game of the EU FNCS, the final circles. 3 left. Number 1 player is down, and who can catch him? 61 points is what it will take to lift that axe and be the one who walks away with $80,000 in the end. And it's all about if you can catch Tayson.
Deceptos 10 looking to do it. 42, 43 points each. They're very, very close. And now going up. He doesn't have a lot of HP. He's going to need to find something. Crash pads being used, trying to build to keep a little bit of a mid-ground tar, but not going to be able to do it. Benji making a run to just try to separate his game and try to get as many placement points and move himself up the leaderboard as he can, because he's out of contention for the Action Champions. AR Bafo there as well. Mongrel in this game. Scram going down. Hen trying to make something happen. Janus going to go down. Mongrel going to fall, as well as Orange. Hen picks up another elimination. This could be his run as well, but it's going to be very, very close.
Storm Surge will turn off there as we have the top 30. Janus picking up an elim there. But Hen, if he wants the win, he needs to put his foot on the gas, right? The placement points aren't just enough. The victory royale isn't enough. We saw Tayson, he had 12 elims. Every one of those elims was a point that pushed him farther up. And while being still in the game gives you opportunities, if you want to seize the moment and you want to say you're best of the best, you have to go now. You have to be pushing people. You have to be converting on the points, because there's only 19 elimination points available right now. You have to start finding them. Top 20, so the placement points are ticking down right now. And Hen, completely out of builds, needs the elimination just for the refresher. He's doing his best, making this a platform game. Diving around, looping on the corner, finds a
هذا قاعد يتحوط ما قاعد يلعب.
And he gets taken down. Top 15.
وقف مكانه واستنى واحد يطلع بعدين شيله. ما عندك ماتس، ليش قاعد يلفلف؟
Only Frenzy Fishy has a chance, and I don't think he has enough elims this game going through. Tayson is going to be your FNCS solo champion, but it's about who can get that second place right now. If they're able to push forwards here, Deceptos theoretically could eliminate every single player in the lobby and go for it, but we talked about it. You have to be pushing the pace. Instead, he's saying, okay, I understand Tayson has that W. I know he's probably going to take the first spot, but if I can stay in this lobby, I'm going to pass other players. Everyone else has gone down, and now he's dropping in 112 on the first one, but he gets walled off.
Please.
35 HP, uses the crash pad, but he goes up vertically and not into the box. Top 10, another point ticks over. Deceptos goes down with 49. Now it's all about pride. The final victory royale.
ما في أحد يهم فاز.
Next to you, getting a little bit more of a payday in the final.
Let's see. فرق 11 بوينت. Oh my god, too much والله. أنا توب 10 نفس البوينتس. فرق $4000. نفس البوينتس. $4000. Oh my god. توماس توب 18، مونغرال توب 16، ميلان توب 20. تنزل كويس توب 32. هذا الليدر بورد يا جماعة. يعطيكم العافية. شكرا لكل من حضر والله، وشكرا على الدعم المو طبيعي اليوم. جي اس قطر الله يسعد ابوك يا اخي. شكرا والله جي اس قطر.
عادي يا بعد مرة عادي يعتبر. خلينا نشوف. ليزكس مع ادابتر وهيرو ما عندهم الان ولا هيكل. اتوقع لو جاء مستوى المسجل اتوقع انهم راح يدمجون لما خاب ظني، لانه اتوقع انه ما دمج.
What an insane way to secure yourself that #1 spot. It was dicey towards the end, but I think we all knew that Tayson just had to stay alive just a little bit, and he did that, and he walks away with the victory.
We talked about it specifically. It would need a heroic effort from somebody in the top 10, but instead a heroic effort from Bafo, who was 26 before that. But where will he end up on the final leaderboards? We're going to throw it back on over to Zeke, Bala, and Shayo to close this one up. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Sundown Clay, absolutely incredible casting of the day. You guys were so on point with these calls. I mean, it did come down to the wire, and for sure, Tayson is the FNCS champion, and now will walk away with the Axe of Champions. Now, of course, big props, but now we take a little bit of a turn here and look at everyone else. Second between fifth, because placing up there is a pretty considerable amount of money.
Yeah, and to get there, how things were, all the way till the final second, the final shot, the top 10 switched up. So, looking at what it is now, after Game 6, after this grueling process for Europe is over, it's Tayson at the top spot, 60 points, $80,000. At 10th is Anas still holding on, $7,000 for him, 41 points. But look at the names in between.
There's so much to break down on this page. First off, of course, Tayson winning, and Janice had won the last invitation. That is his former duo partner, so they've got to be feeling good after back-to-back, basically, championships from them. Tayson at 60 points, but DeCipto's held on. That final moment, it looked like he was going to go for it, but unfortunately, he fell just a little short, but enough to propel himself and hold on to that second place. And then in third, this was the man who rose up in the final game, 19 points. He was way below Sundown said 26th place. He went from $2,000 earned that you can see basically on this page all the way up to $45,000.
That is such a huge boost. And also, to boot, AR Bafo, DeCiptos, Twains, people in the top 10, two of them, second and third place. This is their first Grand Finals appearance, and what a big appearance and a performance it was. Like, man, no practice in these types of lobbies, no real experience on the big stage, and they pull that out? Unprecedented.
Yeah, absolutely, but it was a battle all the way through. Vadil, Nate, Letwick. Letwick did so well in those early moments, but unfortunately falls out of the top 10. Still, solid performance from all these guys. Qualifying for the grand finals and then getting up to this top 20 is definitely something to be proud of. And there were so many moments that we remember from these guys, from Mongrel throughout the season, from Snipe today in the grand finals, from Flois in that very first game. He owns that 21st spot. $2,500 earned from him.
Yeah, these guys had such amazing memories made in the heats. One person here today as well who had a win, Slender. I feel like he's one of my favorite players coming out of Europe that I really haven't been able to watch before. He showed us his prowess in every single stage of the tournament, especially in grand finals with that win that he had. $2,500, 24th place and a few points to boot. Very good performance from him.
And just generally, great performances across the board. You know, we cannot stress this enough. This is the top 100 players in the region. They have the bragging rights. They are allowed to say, I made it to the grand finals of the FNCS. After a grueling gauntlet, I stood at the top. Now, of course, Tayson will hold the Axe of Champions for now, but for everyone else here, they can truly say they are the cream of the crop.
And I think one thing that these guys are going to look forward to now is the solo season wraps for EU. Obviously, they're going to, watch the rest of this too, because we got NAEs coming up next with some very interesting storylines too. But for now, they get to take a breather, relax a little bit as we head up into the next FNCS season and whatever comes after that, because I know people are excited.
Yep, and now we're looking at how things look after the heats in a top 100 stack lobby in a region that's what people say is the best to watch, the best to see. So definitely going to see the changes over in NA East, and definitely going to take a slight breather to see and catch up on those games too.
Well, Shy put it best. Guys, that's it for Europe, but don't forget we are back later to wrap up NA East and crown an FNCS champion there. Till then, Fortnite fam, we'll see you guys on the Battle Bus. What's up, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the Fortnite Champion Series Grand Finals. It's your boy, Zeke. And joining us here on the analyst desk, we've got Sundown, we've got Shy Wager, and in a moment, we will have some games. If you missed out and you're watching from Party Royale, first of all, hello! Happy to be here with you. Don't forget to use your favorite emotes. Throw the grenades around, the tomatoes, the likes. Have a great time. Now, if you missed EU, though, we'll recap you very quickly. Tayson did find himself the Axe of Champions, walking away with the $80,000 and being crowned the FNCS champion over on the PC track, and Flame did the same over on the console track. So again, congrats to both players. But now, Sundown, we gear up as we prepare for NA East.
And NA East is what it's all about. The top 100 players battling to get to this point. They advanced yesterday by being top 25 in their heat, and now they're going to try and claim the Axe of Champions for what I would argue is one of the most competitive regions in Fortnite, just right behind EU.
Yeah, if you were thinking that there were hot personalities ready to just take everyone down on the map, NA East is even that much more competitive, in my opinion, when it comes to people battling for drop spots, battling for the, having that ego to be able to hold off their zone, basically, both early, middle, and end game. I'm just excited to see how this will break down and what happens in game number 1.
Well, we'll get to that in just a second. Very quickly, let's talk about the tournament itself, starting off with the tournament format. Now, yesterday we did come out of heats 1 through 4, and today we find ourselves in the grand finals. After 6 matches, one FNCS champion will be crowned, and as you guys have kind of stated, this is the very cream of the crop. Like, NA East is absolutely going to bring the fire. We do traditionally see a little bit of a slower start, but I think it'll pick up. What do you think, Sundown?
Generally, particularly in the first couple games, NA East versus Europe, NA East is a little bit more passive. You'll see the initial fights off of the drops where each one of those eliminations is worth 1 point, is capped at 20, but have yet to see that cap come into play. However, most people in NA East are going to be looking to buckle in and hit that first round of placement points at top 75 before anything, and really try and make sure they get at least to the half-in, half-out zone in the late game, because that's where they're going to prioritize.
Yeah, late game is where NA East is slightly different from every other region, because what I end up seeing every time is clutch plays. The guy who's supposed to win gets overturned in almost every single game, and the format is alluded to that every single time. People are going for eliminations. They're hiding out all the way till the top 10. That's when the points start to get serious, as Sundown mentioned, and it's all about that format. It's all about trying to win.
And the question is, what do they win for taking home that number 1 spot? $50,000, the clout that comes along with it, the title of FNCS champion, and the Axe of Champions that they will be able to hold for the remainder of the season till the next FNCS. A lot of prize money, though, still on the line for every single person who does and has made it this far. Now, of course, placing top 5 is where you'd like to aim, right, Sundown?
I mean, why not aim for top 1, Zeke? $50,000 in the Axe of Champions sounds great for me. But as you talked about, kind of, as you look in the bumps of the pay grades, top 5 definitely helping out there. Top 25, top 50, and top 100 will also have different ones we end up going through. But noticing how every placement in the top 10 is a change in payment, which means those late game moments in every single interaction is so incredibly close, as we've seen across the board.
Yeah, speaking across the board, here's a look at your finals prize pool across the board. We did see that $800,000 available up for EU earlier on in the day, or wherever your time zone might be, but now we are here in NA East. Every other region does, of course, have something to walk away with, but yeah, we're getting ready to hop into games. Very quickly, though, guys, I want to take a moment and talk about my favorite thing in the world, Batman. Genius comes in many forms. Whether you're dangerously funny, creating havoc with wild plans, or flooding the island with your best intentions, it often comes along with a companion, madness. Become everyone's nemesis with the Last Laugh bundle, featuring the Joker, Poison Ivy, Midas Rex, matching cosmetics, and 1,000 V-Bucks. You can pre-order the bundle through your favorite retailers, and it will be available on November 17th, so definitely check out the blog for all the details. And if you can't wait for more DC characters, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and my personal favorite Batman will be back in the item shop for a limited time. Get their cosmetic sets before they disappear into the night. And of course, as always, Joyride has hit the game, but we will not be seeing vehicles in competitive play, so don't expect to see anybody doing anything crazy with those. Now guys, we have to shift gears here and start talking about NA East. What have we seen? We've seen 4 heats, we've seen 4 winners, and now we're going to be taking a look and diving into the 100 players that will be joining us here. There's a lot of big names here. People like World Cup champion Booga, for example, just to name one of the 100.
I mean, that's an easy one to name right off of the bat. We've talked about him so much, but let's talk about the person who's in first place there, Energy Clicks, one of the few remaining players, and I believe the only one out of NA East who has qualified for literally everything since the Solo World Cup. Every FNCS final, every single World Cup, both solo and duos, he's made it there. He's able to contest towards the top. But you also have some of that Latin American invasion with P-God and Jelty pushing their way up top, and they've been playing phenomenal recently.
Yeah, you're talking about old versus new people coming right through. Everyone still has that history, but now those histories are starting to clash, right? Looking at Nanolite as well, who's such a good solo player, but fell off a little bit after one of those DreamHack performances, is now starting to rise straight back up. Liquid Gabe is also a cool name to pick up from the get-go. NRG Ronaldo, another NRG player who's usually watching all the people play it out, is in the fray this time, looking for his own chances to win.
Yeah, you know, he'll still be screaming in that microphone regardless if he's playing or doing a viewing party, but you also have Calc, who took the #1 spot yesterday in his heat, coming out there, as well as Stretch pushing through here. Vanish, Bully, and Sid, some players who have also capitalized. Have the veteran Lunez picking up in there as well, somebody who's returned recently, been able to have a good performance. But you mentioned the new guard, and Pure Skittles has been among it with some amazing mid and late game runs and conversions that he's then turned over into just huge point performances.
Yeah, Skittles ended up winning out his qualifier day. After that, went straight through those heats. Past that, though, we have Crims, Frat, two guys who are really keen on playing and practicing with each other, now have to face off from opposite sides of the map. Glace, the Uzi Wins, Degen are some fan favorites who have these smaller communities but have such a push behind them to come and win. And if you're talking about communities, you cannot forget Colazo, you can't forget Kaz, Kanata, these guys who are so keen on showing that they still have solo prowess. Their drops are good, their end game is good, and honestly with all these names, I'm just not sure who really has the advantage here to win today.
Yeah, you can see the veteran reverse 2K on that board as well. And we flip over to the last page. Booga, Blake, Hypnos, Lem, who had a great performance that we saw yesterday. Zentil also picking up a dub in heat #3 there. Rox ended up with a phenomenal performance towards the back half, so should be running in on confidence. And also one quick little underlying storyline, just a little personal rivalry between teammates and to keep an eye on here. Calc and Macwood are contending back and forth to have the #1 amount of earnings between them when it comes to NA East online play. And they've kind of put it up. He's like, hey, by the way, today I'm taking back that spot because Zexrow, who is also in that top 3 and plays with them, is falling out. He's not here. He's not contending in the final. Didn't have a bandage to save him this time. Didn't get that clutch run that he really needed. And these two are going to be competing back and forth to try and dethrone each other. So when we mean every little interaction matters, that's what we talk about. Sometimes it's not about first. It's just about beating that person next to you.
Yeah, there's an overall format that we saw and broke down before, but then there are all these personal stories that we will be highlighting. The casters will be pointing out between so many players. There's 100, as you said, Zeke, and it's so much to kind of take in and take account for.
Yeah, for sure. And perhaps if you're new, watching for the first time, we've got 4 winners for you that have come out of the heats in the past. It could just be some very quick eyes to keep, you know, watching as we move through the games here. So Sundown, why don't I toss this over to you?
Yeah, so we're going to hop on board here. This is some of the recap of actions that has gone through, and we're going to talk about some of the fan favorites and the one we've gone on. And let's go to 2 different sides of. So first, P-God, aka Peruvian God, who has probably the strongest presence when it comes to people in the chat. Can I get a Bible thump in the chat right now? Your favorite emo if you're watching in Party Royale for Mr. P-God, because we've seen his fans all over the place. And the thing is, he's been one of the few players in NA East who is able to enact consistent aggression. That means he's looking to take fights, and he's not afraid to trade out with players at all stages of the game. And you see a great late game run there, and that's something he does very well. He's not content to just get that one elimination and then box up. He's looking to chain them into more, and when he's able to do that successfully, it ends up on going on some of these crazy runs where you don't think that really shouldn't be possible, right? There's no way he should win this game, right, in this situation, and yet all of a sudden, vamos P-God.
Yeah, he literally gets his name into so many other people's sightlines and stories. I always say he's the man that plays with 20 item slots because he has so many eliminations per game. But on the other side of things, a man looking for control, stretch, is always one who has a game plan that he sticks to that works out. He's always dominating lobbies completely. And if P-God is looking for trades, Stretch is looking to end fights fast and make sure that every trade is absolutely silent. He always has an advantage when he's rolling into boxes, whether that's position or anything else, and he barely even takes any damage when he's going for these fights. If he's on the back end in late games too, he has a contingency plan. He has these hidden positions that he activates, that he just uses every time, an ace up his sleeve, and he gets these eliminations. He gets power weapons that he doesn't have to loot, just pick up, and then he ends up winning out games from that slot.
And one thing I want to note about in particular that we're starting to see from the very, very top players when it comes to closing out these games or being in these final situations is it's kind of a term, it's not really something we refer to a lot, but it's a no build skill. It's when you're out of builds, you don't have all that utility, and you're just stuck to your raw gun skill, movement, and what's on the map around you. And there's very few players who are able to kind of separate themselves and put themselves in a category where it's like, hey, you play really well in this circumstance. Stretch is 110% one of them. I would say Mongrel is another one who you can put in anytime he's out of builds. You don't really ever count him out of it.
There's a guy named Not Builds who's playing today, so maybe he is the mastermind behind this entire game strategy and plan. I hope that he brings that to fray. If he's in endgame, maybe that's what's happening, but who knows?
Guys, as we get ready to hop into these games, I mean, what do you think we can expect? Now, out of EU, it was a long time. We thought it was all set. And then Tayson shows up, drops this massive game, and game 5, and then holds on. Do you guys think we could see that in NA East just based on the way they play? Do you think we're going to see a little bit of a change-up? Maybe someone comes out and then just, leaves everyone in the dust? What do you guys think? Son, let's start with you.
So we've kind of talked about how the pacing of a 6-game tournament plays out. After the first game, who's able to really separate themselves? Or is it a couple players who got 5 and 6 eliminations and then someone was able to convert? Then you really can kind of tell the shape of the game, or the shape of the tournament itself, after games number 2 and 3. And in Europe in particular, while we saw that there was a little bit of a lead, it was never more than 4 eliminations until Tayson capitalized. So what that means, in my opinion, is we're waiting for somebody to put a stamp on this tournament and then seeing how everyone else reacts. And I think NA East is ripe for that, particularly because it doesn't feel like there's been a definitive favorite to really step up to the plate and say, like, this is my region and I can drop that 10, 11, 12-point victory royale when it matters.
There is no definitive favorite. I agree with that, but I feel like there still is a pattern in NA East. You guys notice on the map, at the bottom side, there's these mountains. In the middle, it's natural low ground, and near the top, there's a lot of water. For NA East, I think it's the zones, and what zones we see repeated throughout these 6 games. There are certain players that are very good at winning out natural low ground consistently, like Calculator, right? BBG Calc. But there's other players too, when the zone starts to get high, Liquid Stretch, he's very good at taking games back to back to back, depending on where the map is going. It's on their drop spot. If the Shockwave launcher is a little bit better when it comes to mountains versus natural low ground. So for NA East, I think it'll depend on where these end games actually end up ending.
Okay, all right. We'll have to see how things go. Let's take a look at some of the winners from the past. Now, kind of add to this and, kind of tie all of these things together. We've also seen those mythic weapons play a very big role in some of this. And over in OCE, we had the winner, Jinxie Fishy, holding down this title. 75 points, boys. I mean, Sundown, this is massive.
I think the bigger thing is the average placement going through for him, and then we flip on over there to see Fram number 1, 47 points. And the story in Asia was the 3-way tie at the top that got broken, not by victory royales, but the average eliminations, with Fram just barely edging over the top, just showing how close that region really was. Then over to Middle East, you have Cash Cup Warrior, aka ASMR Spire Frog, picking that one up there. 62 points, the victory royale, 15 eliminations, and an average placement just outside the top 20.
Yeah, I'm going to say that he needs to change his name to FNCS Winner or Warrior if he wants to, but really good run for him over there on the Middle East. For these 3 regions that we just saw the winners of, it was really, really close on all ends the whole time through, but we've been talking about it for Tayson. He was behind the pack the whole time. Winning out Europe was no easy feat. comes through all the way from Game 5 and holds things up near the top. I think it was a 12 elimination finish that he had overall, and it was absolutely insane what he pulled off.
Man, guys, guess what time it is? Time to start things off here in NAE. So for now, let's send it over to our flight captains, Monster D-Face and Aussie Antics, as they prep us for our descent onto the island.
Thank you so very much, Zeke, and here we have it. It's all come down to this. It's the FNCS Grand Finals. Game number 1's just about to be on their way. Monster D-Face here, Aussie Antics. I am so excited for the games that are going to unfold. The roster is ridiculous.
It is absolutely stacked, and we're not going to hold it back any longer. We're going to jump straight into Game 1 of the NA East FNCS Solo Grand Finals. Monster, just how excited are you for this one?
Absolutely. I'm at peak. I'm at the pinnacle here, and it's the battle bus that is underway. And take a look. Here's the nice spread across the map, how your players are spreading across. Now, let's keep in mind, guys, after all is said and done, one player is going to take home that Axe of Champion. Only one player in the region will be able to wield it. And I'm already noticing that P-God over in Holly Hedges has someone contest, and I love that the camera shot was panning this way because this is going to be one of the most exciting players, one of the most exciting early gauge engagements that we are going to want to follow right now. How is P-God going to be able to perform today? Are we going to get the P-God that is going to go crazy every single game and carry it through? Or are we going to get the P-God that has to clutch up towards the tail ends to pick up the big points? That's going to be the name of the game for P-God today. But today, he is contested here by Chimp.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. He did so well in the qualifiers when he was contested, and yesterday when he wasn't, he did well but didn't do as well. So I'm not too worried for him here. When we're talking about Storm Surge, talking about these insanely stacked lobbies, sometimes being contested isn't so bad if you're someone as good as P-God at closing it out, which he starts off with a really nice 46 tag, waiting behind that bush. He knows this drop spot so well. He's had it on lockdown for weeks upon weeks. Gets the crash pad in. This is someone who has won a qualifying week from home. If you are just tuning in, you haven't been following NAE, so this is a very big engagement off the bat. If P-God goes down here, it would be a large upset to kick off NA East, and that's why we love NA East so much, Monster. It is always, every single fight is so important.
And you're noticing those chug splashes go off here, so P-God knows the player is already healed back up from the distance that he started. And he's going to land a big charge pump shot to kick this off. It's going to go in his favor. Now looking for the control of the walls. And you have to think the enemy he's fighting is probably running out of builds here. This has been a bit drawn out for early game engagement. And yes, another big follow-up. Can he get one more? Oof, that was way closer than what it needed to be. But P-God with a single point to kick off the competition.
Yeah, it just shows the confidence. You love to see this out of P-God coming out game 1, not scared to take the fight. He set up for it. He wasn't over-aggressive. He was smart with how he engaged, but you knew he backed himself to win that one. And P-God putting himself on the board very early, and maybe that drop play might even change. They might not go Holly Hedges next game. We'll have to see as Avery gets into a fight here as well. Just down near the rig, down on the south side near Slurpee Swamps, gets the tack shots in and takes him down. Heater falling here to Avery, 1 point on the board as well. So we've already seen 2 of the 4 players going down here, so still staying pretty stacked, but we're getting the action.
Let's not forget, Avery has just spit outside the top 10 on the week-to-week qualifiers, his best being 11th throughout the course of the competition and lead-up. So someone to keep your eye out on that maybe hasn't been at the top, but could be knocking on that door. We'll see. Spike, on the other hand, has a lot to prove here as well, as an up-and-comer on the scene, just rotating outside of Retail Row. Looking for the big snipe shot, going down range, not going to find it that time, but he's telling everyone he's well and aware and ready to do the do here. I'm looking at the map there. It looks like there's another player nearby. His loot's not looking too great. Yes, he's going to have to farm up and get situated here.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to maybe even try and find a pack of Marauders, maybe. Very high chance of them spawning around here, being center map. Or can he land that sniper shot? He can! Zentil falls. I was just about to say, Spike either has to land a hunting rifle shot or find some Marauders, because 2 chug splashes going into this part of the game where there's not much loot to offer, but there's a lot of loot to offer there from Zentil now.
Just like that, that's going to be 1 down. Another point swinging in the favor. Here's Cody from Team Timbers. We talk about this Latin community, Hispanics stepping up to the plate, and Cody's got, oh my gosh, he's got the mythic loot. He's got the Caddy's Corner on lock here. All of Kit's mythic weapons and arsenal in his loadout, and the Volt key card to play with it. Whoever was defending this place off, you can see though, according to the mini map there, they've rotated out, so Cody is off to a very, very dominant start. This is looking super favorable for him right now, as he's going to be able to gain access to the loot. Let's see what goodies are going to lie inside. You have to only assume that he's going to be completely capped off, and this might be a game that is going to go in his favor. Hold up now, though.
Yeah, last time we saw Cody coming out of caddy corners with all the loot, he did end up winning the game. And this is someone who's been dropping caddy corners every single game of every qualifier of everything he's played in. You see some people kind of testing the waters, knowing how strong that mythic loot is, but then wanting the consistency so they don't go back there. Cody has been dropping there the whole time. No one has more experience at this drop than Cody. And if you are tuning in from home and you tuned into the heats, there was a bit of drama around this drop spot, as Zayt did not qualify for grand finals because this drop was too heavily contested. So I think it would have been a big shake-up for Cody if Zayt was in contention today, but Cody having it between him and one other player, he's got a very good chance to walk away with that loot consistently, so someone to 100% look out for.
I do agree, and here's a little info bit right there for you. Booga, Kaz, Stretch Crims, Kanata, Clicks, Calc have all competed in every single FNCS.
Wow.
And let's not forget, Booga's on fire yesterday, coming in 6th for his heat, coming out of NA East Heat number 4. So things were cooking for the champ here himself, and he's looking to continue his stride through solos, as is Cody. I mean, Cody came 3rd in his heats. I know we're just talking about him, but it just shows you we're looking at some of the hottest players on the market right now, hottest players on the scene here, and they're continuing to carry the torch. Let's see, though. Booga looking for some early tags. We know this is the thing about NA East. It is going to be packed, right? From the top to the bottom, every zone, we're going to expect loads and loads of players to stay alive. There are still 95 players in the game, Ozzy, and the first zone is only halfway through closing. That means of all the fights so far, we've literally captured about 3 of them on broadcast. We are literally seeing all of the action right now because of how intense it is on the NA East region.
Yeah, NA East, they know how to play their games. They know how to play stacked lobbies, and we're going to see who can manage their Storm Surge. And that's why I was so excited to see P-God come out swinging, because a lot of people start off their first game a little bit scared, just maybe the nerves getting to them. They kind of want to play slow, play safe, just kind of play it easy. So P-God coming out swinging was big for him, and he's got his Storm Surge tags on the map, as Jaith kind of making a really nice little metal base for himself, has the Mythic Grappler Gun as well. A lot of the conversation always kind of falling around Kit's Mythic Charged Shotgun and Shockwave Launcher, but you really can't count the Grappler Gun out. See someone who's been performing really well with it. Unfortunately, I don't believe making finals here today, so Jaith got his hands on that one out of the 3 people that looks like they're dropping here, and he's going to have to find his tags, though. If they haven't fought down below, he also has no shotgun, so I'm not really sure how that's going to play out for him.
And I mean, he's pulling a cease here, nice and early, high in the sky here at the Authority, looking for those early tags to play into his favor. What I do like about Jaith in recent times, that he's just been on the up and up, consistently entering himself into tournament after tournament, Cash Cup after Cash Cup, even now qualifying for the grand finals here in the heats, and slowly but surely stepping his way up, stepping up his placements. So how is he going to perform on the largest setting, on the biggest stage here, on the biggest screen here, in front of all the community figures in the Fortnite scene here now, though? I'm speechless by Stretch, who has got me thrown off right now. He's in the center map, making a rotate for center zone, and he's around
good.
So many players.
He's got the loadout, though, as well. 4 floppers, something I'm not used to seeing Stretch have too much of. Dropping out a Misty Meadow, so maybe he had the time with his zone being a little bit closer to kind of fish up. He didn't have a really strong performance yesterday in his heat, but we talked about it a lot on that broadcast. He got really, really unfortunate zones. All first 4 zones pulled north, and so that kind of caused a bit of issues for Stretch. The last 2 zones pulling south, I think he averaged almost a top 10 in those 2 games where he finally got good zones. So Stretch looking in a great position with that extra time that he will have. He's going to try and set up probably on the edge of this mountain. Needs to get a nice high position to go for some Storm Surge tags as well if he hasn't been fighting anyone already, as Booga holding him down, someone who's also been dropping Misty Meadows with him, hitting the rotate a little bit earlier. And we're talking about interactions, we're talking about those who's who of names here, and Booga and Stretch going head to head is going to be one of them. 2 players who have a lot of pressure on them to perform in their own right, but also to outperform each other. They were duo mates and they both performed insanely well, but there's always those whispers of who carried who's better. We saw Booger and Stretch going head to head in one of the qualifying weeks, where Stretch ended up just coming out on top in the final game, winning it over Booger. But this is a rivalry that I'm super excited to see play out.
That's right, and I mean, it's been about 4 months or so since they've entered as a duo into competition, but the stigma carries with them as they do still play trios and other team-based game modes. So we'll be interesting to see the clash between those 2 titans. I mean, we saw Janice and Tayson fight one another over in the Steamy Stacks in EU today. And that was probably the biggest clash of Tayson's career because he took that to the Axe of Champions all the way down the line. And P-God, oh my gosh, with the big follow-up onto Vibes. And that's going to be huge for him. His second elimination right now. 93 players left in the game.
Second elimination when there's 93 players left. So P-God has taken down 2 of the 7 players that are following in this lobby. So you can't overstate how big that is. If you're more of a casual Fortnite fan, you're tuning in, this might seem a little bit ridiculous. The 2 eliminations is huge at this point. But as you can see in the top left, there's only 7 people that have gone down. These players are the best of the best, and they're avoiding fights. They're playing safe, trying to get into that top area for those placement points. And P-God just feeling comfortable. He's feeling confident, running around as we see Prickly Boy was a fan favorite of yesterday, rocking the cactus skin. I feel like the casters definitely instantly resonated with this player and wanted to cheer him on as well. As Prickly Boy trying to find his way out of this one if he can. He was throwing that big pot ahead of him, but this player was waiting for it. Kind of choreographed exactly where he was going to go into this push. So Prickly Boy trying to close it out. Players on top of him. Nice builds, but he drops inside the box. 2 tack shots is not enough, and Justice takes him down. Don't think Justice even needed the shotgun there, and look at that loadout. Justice is looking great.
That's right. Justice read the law and laid it down just like that, showing that he was going to be the one to action the scene right now. And that was well played. He just walks through pure confidence through Prickly Boy, who couldn't seem to find the defense, seem to find the shots that he needed. Here's Sentinel's Aspect on the other side. One of the veterans of the Fortnite community scene for the NA East. And a part of the earliest days of Fortnite competition. Now, back on his stride, back on the high horse here as a solo competitor. It almost seems like he came out of nowhere in the recent times, just coming back, showing players that, hey, this vet here still has what it takes to compete on the grand final stage. Ladies and gentlemen at home, this is game number 1. If you are tuning in, we do appreciate it. That's going to be a big down there, though. Aussie, that was Cody.
That was Cody. I have to know who gets that loot because this elimination, while being important at one point, I need to know who gets that mythic loot because that is going to change the game massively. If you're not dropping caddy corners, but you end up with the caddy corner loot, like we saw with Calc yesterday, Calc dropped, I think it was an 8 elimination win or close to it because he got his hands on that caddy loot because he found it in the mid to end game. So whoever has now found that, as I say, Calc goes down to Colazo. So players dropping now as Storm Surge, I believe, is going active and we have 12 people to fall. But if we can get a sight on who exactly has that shockwave launcher, it could play massively into this end game if it's a big name who's been performing and not used to having the added advantage of 2 mythic items.
Take a look at this, though. It's P-God back in another skirmish here. I see 4 different players, 4 individuals stacked up on top of one another off of this rotate here from west to east, trying to get to the safety of the new zone. P-God yesterday did this as well. He was playing off of these non-dead side rotates. I mean, he's just walking directly to the zone and taking battles along the way. We saw that halfway through the competition. It worked against them. We'll see, though, but no, not this time. It doesn't matter. P-God's going to react with the quickness there onto Uzi. Uzi is an up-and-comer as of late. He has been on fire, but P-God shuts that out. He puts the fire out.
Shuts it out quick. That was such a good, quick flick with the charged shotgun, too. That's a hard shot. If you just watched and you missed what happened there, the other player crash padded straight into the back of the box. P-God didn't see the player coming through because the builds were breaking, and then just split-second reaction flicks with the beautiful charged shotgun shot. And P-God's now got 3 eliminations on the board coming into endgame with the peppers as well. So he's got that extra mobility to maybe make that next rotate. And you touched on it just then, Monster. He doesn't really exactly go for the safe rotates. He'll go up against players and back himself in fights just like that. And now he's getting his Storm Surge tags. He's getting his damage on the board as we still have Storm Surge active right now. There is still 1 player getting hit by Storm Surge in this lobby as 71 players are still alive.
I just want to say that is probably the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen a ridiculous shot like that come out of P-God. But here's Skittles finding himself a nice little ridiculous elim onto Avery, who was so lit up on the run from an opponent. And although Skittles may not be able to grab the rewards of Avery's loot there, it's going to be Rubified who's going to scoop that up. It's okay. He's got a nice free point to work with here. Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, 75 players or less than 75 players in the lobby now is going to reward the first points. Placement points are divvied out as players go down. And just like that, now Skittle has 2. So this is a nice step in the right direction here. If the EU FNCS Grand Finals was any indicator, though, to how you want to play, how many points you want to average to take home a victory, you're going to need anywhere from 8 to about 10 around on average to be the FNCS champion of the region.
That is such a tall ask. 8 to 10 points every game for 6 games when you're battling out with 99 of the other best players in your region. Just showing these players are a whole nother level. 31 tag, nothing too heavy. That's clicks. NRG clicks falls. Someone who has a lot of pressure on them here today. A lot of expectations going down with 1 placement point on the board. Don't know if he got an elimination. We didn't see him in the feed, but just the unfortunate misplay there of going up against that wall that Justice does own, and he just has to hit that window edit and go straight through. Justice now knowing there's another player behind his other wall, so Justice in a really congested spot, as you're seeing in the bottom right of that mini map about 6 or 7 players all on top of each other, and Bucky being one of them, so pretty scary spot to be in.
Bucky, one of the scariest players, one of the hottest profiles across all game modes. Doesn't matter where you place him, team-based, squad-based, solo-based, he performs, he shows up. Smack, though, is going to be lighting up the feed right now, finding himself his own point. Here's D-Roller. D-Roller, one of those few key individuals that once he gets going, he can definitely start to play off of that momentum. We know him to be a fragger. I want to say during the FNCS Invitationals, he was breaking records on his streak on up to those grand finals as well. So this is a player that lately has been somewhat dormant, but it shows that, hey, when he turns on big, and he doesn't look back. Right now, though, Ozzy, what I'm paying attention to is this zone and how many players are starting to migrate nice and early. This is only becoming more and more stacked. So we bring our focus down to that mini-map. Just look at how many players have to cross in.
Yeah, and I was just going to say with D-Roller as well, it's just showing that he can kind of like, he can change the game style as well, though. Obviously, last in their solo invitational, there was a lot of high eliminations being dropped. At this point, we're seeing much more placement split, and it's showing his diversity to be able to play to that and play to the placement points, and understanding that most of the players are usually kind of winning this one out with a higher average placement than elimination points overall. We saw some of the regions like Asia have a lot lower point split with a 3-way tie for 47, but then you're looking like regions like my hometown region, OCE, with 70 plus points for first. It's just, you don't know. You need to play to your region. You need to play to your scoring format. You need to play to what is going to give you consistency.
Yeah, it's been very volatile across all the regions. Someone who's on fire, though, it's P-God. My gosh, 3 eliminations already. We're not even halfway through the lobby. He's owning up to his name right now. Honestly, he has just been on top of everything. This new zone's going to be popping soon, though. We're going to see that half in, half out reveal itself, and he's already being so active. I wonder if he can just make an end game this time around. That is going to be momentous for him.
Would be momentous. He gets an opposite half though. One of them, the zones you want to get the most. This is the full pull zone right now. So as you can see, that half zone going half in. He takes Renan's though, but like you said, Monster, he likes to be around the action. He doesn't need to go on the safe side of zone. So this next rotate could be easy for him. He could pick up even more eliminations on the way, as Class is going to get that loot, but P-God is the one who gets the elimination. He needs to make a tough rotate now. He has the launch pad, he has 2 crash pads, but with these trees in the way, and with the way this zone's going, he's going to have to find a clearing to try and get that launch pad off, I imagine, because crash pads, he's probably going to get stuck in the trees, as Blake just sitting out in the cone looking really nice up here on the top side. He's going to have to start making his rotate as well. It's not as far as P-God, but it's still a pretty difficult zone, as we still haven't even gained our second placement point of today. Top 50 is where these players will get 1 more point on the board. Blake having 1 for top 75. Needs to look back and try and hold some of these players that are using the rotation behind him, and then he's going to have to keep making his way through. Blake has been a dominant player for such a long time now, but hasn't had a big showing in a solos event, so really high expectations, or looking forward to seeing how he can pull this off today. But no medium ammo left in the AR, shotgun only, and a harpoon. He needs to find something pretty quickly.
I'm just looking at the feed right there. I saw Dubs pick up reverse 2K. Kanata's going to fall to hand here as Bucky falls to Blake. And that's 3 major names, major players, absolutely skilled individuals all falling in concession on this rotate here to the half in, half out. This is where things get interesting. This is where Fortnite really starts to shine as a competitive esport. Here it is. It's when things start to get intense and the zone starts to move. Here it is, though. Blake still being so active. The control throws the cone down, and I can't help but imagine that he's going to go ahead and conclude this one as well. The second elimination for him now onto Haji here, and zone's going to pull his way.
Haji, a player who hasn't been so prominent in these games, but did manage to win a game in his heat to jump himself up there and qualify. Unfortunately, falling here at the hands of Blake, who had a great rotate. He was back against the wall. He had no AR ammo, and now he's got 2 huge refreshes in the half zone, so he's looking really, really good. Needs to try and kind of find some way to get back in this one a little bit more, as he's on the bottom side, but rotating zone is going to go back through the woods, through all that tree cover, so not sure if he's going to be able to find his way back down on the low ground, as Illest looking much better with 5 crash pads and 1 launch pad.
Here it is, though. The wide shot giving you guys who's in the game. I see Bully. I see Aspect still alive. Illis still alive as well. And Illis is going to be running right through Pose here, who's on the other side of the wall. He's going to go in and crash pad his way in. That's going to be a major impact frag. Impact elimination for Illis. That's going to refresh his material count as well, as the entire lobby now is looking to scramble across here. But Illis is still firing up. He's going to catch Batch on the movement now as well. Great layer change, though. He's going to move himself up, setting up the teak pad to try and get out here. He's got the crash pad ready to go. He's thinking about it, though, still waiting his time. He doesn't have to do it too early. Not this time around, not until the zone actually pops itself. On high ground, though, Dubs is going to go ahead and lose it to someone launch padding up above. And Ozzy, things are getting super interesting here. P-God is now to 20 HP. He cannot afford to play with the zone, but he's gathering placement points as this Cox keeps ticking.
He's got to make something happen. He knows the player's above him. He's trying to bait him to drop down and go for the shotgun shot. But no, that could be too long. But he waits. It is. He can't break through the full metal in time. Too much damage. He takes 2 10 ticks from zone, and he falls just outside top 30. A good game from P-God, those 7 points on the board, as we now have some of those players who are going to play for more consistency. I see NRG Ronaldo kind of making his way up a little bit here, making his way very high. Ronaldo trying to take the high ground, or at least get above this elevation, which is a good spot to be in. Asia's stuck down there on the low ground, though. He's going to have to keep playing for it. I want to see who has that shockwave launcher and who can actually really contest height, as Blake making a good push for it too. 23 points on the board. He's now inside that top 25. Those 2 refreshes were everything he needed to get him to this point, but he's gonna need another one soon, as he's down to 5 builds inside the full metal base. So he's in a good spot to try and find a refresh from, but he's gonna have to go soon. If this zone keeps going up, takes down Nanolite. Does take down Nanolite, a very consistent player here in this one. AJ falling in the feed as well, going down to the Storm as it pushes everyone up this big mountain.
That harpoon was so clutch to grab him all the materials he needed as well. Here it is. Polarized, though, has that shockwave launch. He wanted to know who had it, and it's him on height. And now he's looking to fight it out for his life, though. On the other side, Illa's still up there as well. And now we have Coop down on the low ground, really tearing it up. 4 eliminations for Coop. Someone's got him backed out against the Storm, though. He's got to take the fight. He's going to step in, and yes, he catches another one. That's going to be the 5th elimination now. He's still very much in the game. I'm seeing Ronaldo. I'm seeing Dubs still here. Blake's still alive. Jace fighting his way up the high ground as well.
Is coming down to this. 6 players alive right now. Big names. Who's who of this one? Blake trying to have a big performance here. 4 eliminations already on the board. Going up again. I have to think he has one of the better mat advantages right now. Only 23 builds, but this late in the game, when the zone is about to close out, that is very good, as Ronaldo having to skirt the Storm. Coop takes down Jaith. Ronaldo must have flop, as he does. Can he come back in? Can he make a play? Illest, Dubs. Blake putting the pressure down onto Dubs. He gets the elimination. 4 players left. Blake has the high ground. This could be his game. This could be everything to start off the tournament for Blake. He has all the advantages. It's a 1v1. It's Blake versus Illis. Can Blake close it out? Can he jump up and have the huge game 1 performance? Illis can't get up the hill. He can't get a footing. Blake has all the advantage. Blake has to win this one. Illis down in zone. All Blake has to do is wait this one out and just hold, and he's going to be the game 1 winner of the NA East FNCS Grand Finals. Blake takes it away with 6 eliminations and 20 points on the board.
He did that so textbook as well, just holding that height. He knew he had it once Illa slipped down the mountain. Hats off to Ronaldo, though, who got top 3 as well. What a big game for our competitors there coming into game number 1. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen.